everybody, welcome back to A Sweet Journey. I'm Sonia, also known as Sweets, and thanks for coming back this week. There's so much going on in the world right now, and so I love this opportunity to just stop and do a few videos, learn some new recipes, I don't know, figure out new ways to connect with people. And that's been some of the things that I've been doing while I'm in quarantine. Hopefully you've been figuring out some things that you can do as well. Last week I talked a little bit about loving God, and I used the scripture, love God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, with all of your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And so I started just talking about what loving God meant to me, what that was for me. This week I just want to talk about loving yourself, and I want to start with loving yourself because I think it's a little bit challenging to love your neighbor if you don't really love yourself, because it says to love your neighbor as yourself. So this week I just wanted to talk a little bit about self-love and what that looks like. And I think oftentimes people forget about that. Like, we do all of these intentional things for everybody else, and then we just forget about loving ourselves. And I don't want us to do that. I want us to take the time to really love ourselves, have an appreciation for this time that we get to reflect, we get to dream, we get to plan, and that we actually do that and do it in the space of self-love. So there's just a few things that I thought I would share in reference to self-love. The first thing is I am a believer, and I do believe that it's challenging to love yourself appropriately if you don't have like a love or even an understanding of who God is, because the way that it works in my head is that, like, He is my creator. He created me. He has an intention for how He created me. And so me loving myself is totally contingent on that, like what He wants me to do, how He wants me to be, that kind of thing. And so for me, self-love starts with that, like as a core. It starts with, how do you know and how do you love God? And what do you believe He says about you? So it starts in that space. And that's just kind of that's a whole nother something. And I think if people want to talk about that, great, we can have a conversation about that. But I think that that's the beginning. And then I think another thing that people neglect quite a bit is the opportunity to speak to someone, to a therapist or a counselor, about areas of struggle. I think that it's criminal that people don't take advantage of these things. And a lot of times your job actually has like built into your benefits an employee assistance program that kind of helps you. I know about 5 years ago, I started going to counseling. I lost my mom, and I found myself crying all the time, and I needed someone to talk to. And I was in church, and I was actively involved in church, and I needed someone professionally that I needed to talk to about what was happening and how I was processing this death and what it was kind of bringing up for me. And so it took something. And so I took advantage of the benefit of my company. I called the line, and I was crying even when I called. They connected me with some people who are in my local area, and I got connected, and I met this woman who ended up literally helping me navigate through grief. And I needed that. Didn't realize I needed it, but I did. And so I think that's the self thing. And to me, actually acknowledging like that I had a problem and then taking the necessary steps to go get help, those were acts of self-love. That was me caring enough about myself to go and talk to somebody. So I think that's important. I think the next thing is pretty basic. I think most people know this. The way that we practice it might be a little, whatever, but making sure that how we take care of ourselves internally is prioritized and intentional. I think a lot of times we see the videos and we're putting on lashes and we're learning how to do our hair, like all that stuff. I appreciate that, and I do not say that we don't do those things. I think that in addition to that, we talk about the ways that we are healthy inside. Like, how are we healthy emotionally? How are we healthy, like with our body and our skin? And it's not just that I do this regimen every night. No, it's because I drink water all day, every day, right? Or that, that I meditate. So then it gets me in the right mental state, or I pray, or different things like that. So really talking about the things that internally impact our external. And as you all know, I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 this year. And I think that it matters what practices we have in our 20s and 30s to help us live a life when we're 50 where we're at peace. And I think included in eating healthy, working out, drinking water, eating vitamins, taking vitamins, all of that, included in that is a financial health. Like, I think it matters. Like, I have a good friend who oftentimes, talks about the things that she deserves. Like, she deserves to go and get this manicure. She deserves to go get this pedicure, different things like that. I think there are times that, yes, absolutely, we should do that. I think we also deserve to be in financial wellness, at every age of our life. Those lessons are actually like free online right now, and it's just about disciplining ourselves. And so I think that self-love includes taking care of our insides, whether it's eating right, working out, all of that, like putting in the right stuff to get out the right things. But then I also think it is financial stability. I think it's putting ourselves in a position where we may sacrifice a little bit in the beginning so that we could yield bigger results. And I know for myself that goes against the grain of how I was raised. I wasn't raised to save. I wasn't raised to kind of have a retirement plan and different things like that. I wasn't raised like that. I was raised to pretty much spend. So I was raised as a spender, and so I became really very good at it. And so getting to the place where we prioritize the things that are important, not just for the now, but also for the future. So those are important, I think. The last, I think, two things that I think are really good practices for us for self-love. I thought about, like, right now, where I am right now, I am just starting to record YouTube videos, and I have been dreaming of doing something like this for a long time. This has been kind of something that I felt like I was supposed to do, but I wasn't sure how to do it, and I was scared. I was scared that it would be successful, and I was scared it would be like a sad mess, and so I was scared on both ends. But I think that self-love says, hey, not only do you dream, but you also take steps to execute on those dreams. And I think that's self-love. So a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us work inside of somebody's dream or vision right now, because we work at companies. We're not entrepreneurs. And so we're working and living inside of somebody's dream or somebody's vision. So what are the possibilities if we decided to live inside of our own vision? Like, what would that look like? And I think that's a good place to start. And, because I think as a priority, I said your connectedness starts with God. I think that if you start there, He really will help guide you in that as well. So that's important. But like, what is it that you're called to do, or what is it that you dream of doing, and what can you do little by little to step into that? And I think that is important, and that is self-love. That is you saying, I care enough about myself to not only, do the things that are helpful to like sustain my life with a financial health, but I'm gonna dream even in those areas that I can't see how I would do that. Like, how would I do these things? You can't see how you would do it, but you know what? I'm gonna take the first step, and I'm gonna do this thing, whatever that thing is for you. So those are some kind of basic self-love tips that I wanted to share with you all today. And so thank you all for watching. I'm glad that you stopped by, and hopefully if you like this video that you'll give me a thumbs up, or I would love for you to subscribe and leave comments at the bottom. We'd love to hear kind of what you have to say about these topics. So again, thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.